Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the Kingdom Heirs Book Club. We are reading the book Secret of the Millionaire Mind. We are starting part two tonight. I'm excited about the topic. We kind of already started, we just jumped in and started talking about some of the nuggets that we have gotten from the book so far. But I want to go ahead and get started. I am going to share my screen. Okay, so we have The Secret of the Millionaire Mind, the discussion outline for tonight. We're going to identify the things that are keeping us from obtaining and retaining our millions.
Right.
We're going to talk about renewing our mindsets and behaviors, and then we're going to look at creating a financial blueprint. Now, one of the things that really stood out to me, and just for those that are watching, just know that this is open dialogue. We all can participate and share the things that we have gotten from the book. So, part two is it gets into the 17 ways rich people think and act differently from poor people. And so, there are some principles that we'll talk about and highlight. But we're going to probably cover about 7 of them tonight. Now, one of the things that I wanted to point out that stood out for me is um, people that blame, justify, complain, and I'm even going to throw in the word comparison. Um, and these are words that I want to that is mentioned in the book, but they are words or they are behaviors that will delay you from obtaining your $1 million. And so, and then I like the fact that we're going to add the S to the millions because I don't like to limit God. So if he wants to give me 3 million, I don't want him to stop at 1 million. So just some of the things that I got from blame. And I mean, it's really deep, and it has me thinking deeply. Um, I don't know. I've been in a position of blaming, you know, um,
Renee, I'm
yes,
sorry for interrupting, but didn't you say you were going to screen share?
yes, I did. And then I'm going to go back.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just thought I lost it. Okay.
As far as blaming, I know that I have experienced that because, as I was growing up as a teenager, I always wanted to be a cosmetologist, always. And my father had made a comment that kind of deterred me from pursuing that. So I went to school and I talked to my guidance counselor, and he just gave me a list of things to consider. One of them was drafting. So I did take that class. I did go to college for that, but I only lasted a year. But then later in life, as an adult, I'm like, man, I wish I had parents that had, led me in the way that I should go, because I've always been a business person. And I did quit college and I did go to cosmetology school and I did have a successful career in that. But I was blaming my parents. Like, didn't you see that in me? Why didn't you push me in that direction? Um, but now I don't blame, but I mean, I have been in that position of blaming. And have any one of you experienced that yourself where you blamed a situation or a person or a circumstance for you not achieving? Or even like, I wanted to retire by age 30, I'm 56 and I'm back in corporate America, So, just things that like I could have been to my destination had my father directed me in the right way to go.
Well, I'll confess, blaming hasn't ever really been an issue for me. I don't really have that. I got other issues, but blaming hasn't been a problem for me. I've never really seen anything that I want to do or I want to accomplish as being hindered by anyone else. The closest I might have even come to blame, and I don't even assign any blame, but the closest that I might come is that I got on a journey to increase my financial literacy in
Mm-hmm.
my 40s. And I wish all the stuff that I'm learning and things that I am doing financially now, I wish I started doing them in my 20s, but I didn't know them in my 20s because the adults in my life weren't exposing us as young people to these kind of financial literacy lessons that we all should learn.
Mm-hmm.
So but at the same time that I feel like, why didn't my mom teach me this stuff when I was younger? But at the same time, I recognize and realize my mom is a single parent. She did a great job raising me and my siblings. We are all good. You know, none of us are criminals or in jail or in drug problems or anything like that. So
I
she
mean,
did
a
a
lot.
great job raising us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can't blame her for not also having time to get some financial literacy skills in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that that's the closest I ever came was like, I wish I had learned some of this stuff younger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I don't really have any adults in my life that I can blame for not teaching me that. So that's my 2 cents.
You're on mute, Jennifer.
Oops. Yeah, I would say mine's kind of similar with that. As far as the like what Teal was saying, um, and as far as the actual financial literature, that kind of stuff and understanding, investing and all that, that's not something that I would blame. I mean, because I didn't have that growing up either, but that's not something that I would blame, only because if they had it and didn't teach me, they knew it themselves and didn't teach me, that might feel differently, but they didn't have it. You know what I mean? Like nowhere down the line of my family did anybody, it was work your regular job and paycheck to paycheck. And so nobody really had that level of,
Mm-hmm.
so I guess from that perspective, I kind of on the same boat as Teal.
Mm-hmm.
And also from like, I was thinking about it like from a relationship perspective, like when a relationship doesn't work out, I can just like blame the other person. But I'm going to be absolutely honest and say that I might have had a little moment of blaming the other person, but when I'm over whatever is the anger or the hurt of that moment, and I would think about the relationship, I realized every time I saw those red flags, and I just went on down that road with that person anyway. And so I
Mm-hmm.
know that that was me and my choices,
Mm-hmm.
So that's after the rational mind returns to you. But for that little spell after the breakup, when you're angry and you're hurt, it's just all that person's fault. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, being truthful with myself though, I always saw the red flags.
And you take responsibility, and
Yes,
that's the
and I
key
take
thing.
responsibility for that.
And I think that you'll see as we go through the topics that some people get stuck.
Mm,
They get stuck in that position of blame, and they can't go forth. The other one is justifying. I know that in some circles you'll hear people say like the root of money is evil, but it's misquoted. It's the love of money,
Mm-hmm.
and when you are talking to someone and they're saying, hey, I want to get out of this position, and then you give them some solutions, they start to justify why they can't make a change. And then the last one is complaining. Well, it's not the last because I threw in an additional word, but complaining definitely will delay your progress. And um, just a reminder of the children of Israel. They were free people, then they got enslaved. Then the Lord set them free, killed the enemy so that they could not, it was impossible for them to go back into slavery. But then they got out into, they got free. They were only 1 week away from getting to the promised land, but they spent 40 years in the wilderness complaining. And the people that started out the journey didn't end the journey. Their children went into the promised land. And even, you know, in honor of Black History Month, when slavery was ended, there were people that stayed because they just had the slave mentality in their mind. And dealing with finances, you do have to, like, the first part was like, okay, who modeled the money example for us? As, okay, so there are some things that we're stripping away, things that we've been taught over the years. We're now unlocking our mind to where we're not going to be stuck. We're taking responsibility. We're going to do the things. We're going to take some actions in releasing ourselves from bondage, you know, financial bondage. Because some people, they just get in debt and can't dig themselves out. And instead of, okay, here's a solution. If you do a budget, if you know, here's 3 things that you can do to get out of that debt, they'll keep digging themselves. They'll keep self-sabotaging, you know. And I'm just a strong believer that God gives you everything you need daily to survive. And, you know, if you take a moment for those, like the times that I was in debt, you know, I would just sit down and like, you know what, God gave me what I needed to take care of this, but I spent it, you know. So, you know, I just want to open the floor if, you know, if anyone wanted to add to, you know, those pieces of it and your experience.
You know what, I've not been a blamer, but I have been very disappointed. You know, there's been times when I've just been disappointed. I mean, you guys don't see the vision? How dare you not see my vision? And you don't want to invest in my vision? So when I started my business and I started, you know, doing some things, it was, I invited my family members and some friends, and I was literally show them all the money that could be made in these various areas. But they were like, you know, you go on and do your thing. And, you know, if you do good, then we're proud of you. And I just had to go on and just do that, you know, but I have been disappointed. I've never complained about anything that I had to do. Again, I've just been disappointed that I've had to do it by myself sometimes. Because I don't expect for people to, you know, there was a time even being married, that I expect for my marriage to go the way that I thought that it should go. And, you know, I'm mad at my spouse. After a while, I had to release that. I'm like, I'm mad at you because you don't understand what's going on. You don't have the capacity. And a lot of people just don't have the capacity. So we can't really, you know, I just don't think I can be mad at somebody that just doesn't have the discernment to understand what, you know. You go to the bank, you know, they say, okay, you have X number of funds. If you do, then I'll give you X number of funds. Well, I don't need your money. I gotta use my own. You know, sometimes I think this is the level of understanding who you are and what we need to do to carry on. So.
And even though you were choppy, I think I got the gist of what you were sharing there. And the other word that I would throw in there is comparison. That you know, you're on the right path, you're doing the things that you want to accomplish, and then a coworker invites you to their house. You get there and they're living in a mansion. You're like, whoa, wait a minute, we work side by side. What's going on here? You know, just you know, you want to be careful of comparison, because we run our own race. We, you know, we have our own goals, and you may be looking at something that's really not a realistic thing. Like they could have inherited everything. Who knows? You know, you don't know. Right. You don't know.
Or vice versa. You know, I mean, you see these people that vouch that they are this, that, and the other, and you go where they are, and you're like, who will follow you?
You know, I would actually think that I'm like the opposite of the example that you gave, Renee, when sometimes people will comment that, Teal, you live a real simple life, given where you are, I would think you'd be living a little larger, right? But for me, that priority is different, right? I like that I'm living in like a small and simple house because it's paid for and I'm living mortgage free. I'm happy with that, right? Mortgage free is a big deal, right?
Yes.
I don't need the big fancy house with a big fancy mortgage. I need a smaller house that I can take care of. I can cut this backyard. I can cut this front yard, right? And it's paid for. That was more important to me than the showmanship of a fancier house. So you never really know what somebody's choices are when you go like to their house and they living in some big thing and you're like, wait a minute, but you know what? Sometimes you can look at someone that's living in a little more simple and don't think that they are just like in poverty or something, it's just their choice to live simple.
I agree. And the thing is, it's like the American dream, hey, get a job, go to school and get bigger, bigger, bigger.
Right.
But now I'm shrinking in size. I don't need all this, and, and then too, it's like right to the right of me, that was all fields. And now they're brand new homes, like $300,000 homes. And we would go over there all the time and just walk through the model home. I'm like, who's going to clean all this? But, and I said, Lord,
right.
and then I said, well, if you take me that route, Lord, I'm just going to hire somebody to come in and clean the house. There is a solution to that. And, the last thing that is real powerful for me is like it says the power of life and death is in the tongue. And so if you're constantly talking negative and talking against your goals, it's going to happen, and so, you don't want to be unrealistic and speak things that you're not going to accomplish, but you can accomplish it. Like your big goals, you can accomplish them. And so we're going to get into a plan of action. And so that's why it's important to, and I'll share my screen again, that's why it's having us do declarations. And so what I've done is pulled all the declarations in the portions that we read. And I don't know if you guys are doing them, but, here's the declarations that I pulled from, the pages that we did read. And I create the exact level of my financial success. My goal is to become a millionaire and more. I commit to being rich. I think big. I choose to help thousands and thousands of people. I focus on opportunities over obstacles. I get ready. I fire. I aim. I admire rich people. I bless rich people. And I'm going to be one of those rich people too. I model rich people and successful people. And I associate with rich and successful people. And if they can do it, I can do it. And then we touch our head and say, I have a millionaire mind.
I have a millionaire mind. I hear you. So I want to comment on the one about the obstacles, right? So when I got my feet started on this path of financial literacy, and I started learning these skills about better ways to manage money and make financial plans for yourself. I want to bring my family on board. I want everybody, look, y'all need to know this stuff, and I want my sisters, and my nieces and nephews and all the young people and the generation come along behind me. I want them to know it and I want them to get it in there. Girl, we started in this pandemic and I said, I'm going to do financial classes on Zoom for my whole family. Okay. Most of the whole family weren't interested. They didn't the people who were attending on a regular basis were my sisters and my mom.
Mhm.
That's my generation, and the generation came in. I'm trying to influence the young people. None of them.
Mhm.
They came to the first one, and then they just started dropping out after they wasn't coming anymore. And so that felt to me like an obstacle. But because I'm trying to be this person that has a millionaire mind,
Mhm.
I am trying to rethink how I address these obstacles and turn them into opportunities. And so through my conversations with Renee as my wealth coach, I had decided that what I'm going to do is start a YouTube channel. Now, this is not a YouTube channel for the world. I don't care if it gets 1 million followers. If it gets 1 million followers, I'll be happy. But what I'm going to do is take my financial literacy lessons and put them onto the YouTube channel. And when my family and friends and people are ready, whenever they're ready or want to know or want somewhere to start, it'll be there. That's part of the legacy that I'm leaving, is that I'm going to put this content into the world, and hopefully the world and my family will be able to gain some benefit from it when they are ready. So that's, I think.
I love it. And I know Jennifer is sitting on the edge of her seat, so I know, but yes, yes.
Well, you can't make people, like Pam was saying, when she was ready to start her business and she wanted everybody to get involved, and, you can't make their enthusiasm inside of them for your ideas or for what you're passionate about. They have to come to being ready in their own time, and then they'll show up and be like,
Mhm.
I'm here, tell me. And
Mhm.
If it's not too late.
if it's not too late.
And your life is an example. Like I was saying, like when we did the vision board the other day, my sister came, my niece came, my daughter was there. That's progress.
That's
You know,
right.
that was progress. But it's just, you just keep living your life. And my sister, if you ask her, okay, where's Renee going to be when she's retired? Oh, she's going to be somewhere on the beach with her toes in the sand. So they'll repeat back. You just be patient. And doing it on YouTube, that's an excellent idea, because like my daughter, that's why I'm leaving crumbs. I'm leaving the plan. So like she's like, Mom, what's the recipe to your pound cake? Go to YouTube. I made you a video. Excellent.
Right. That's right. And so in that millionaire mindset that he's talking about in the book, you can't get negative. If you have a millionaire mind, if you're trying to have a millionaire mind, you can't get negative about the people that aren't ready,
Right.
or the whatever is the improvement that you were thinking you're trying to bring to their lives. If they're not ready, they're not ready. And you can't think negative about that. You can't get resentful about that. If you have a millionaire mind, you just say, when they're ready, I'll be here for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
And Jennifer, you look like you had something to say.
No.
So, but yeah, I definitely agree with that wholeheartedly. And, I mentor a lot of college students, and some of them, their response is that, they already know everything. But, sometimes I throw a curveball to them, and then it causes them to think out. I want them to think outside of the box. And so, when I know that they're not listening and tuning me out, I throw them a curveball, and then all of a sudden we're having that conversation we need to have. But yes, most definitely, I love that. I'm going to share the screen again.
I like that he put those declarations in the book and says, say these things out loud to yourself, because I think that there's power in speaking things into existence.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Now, I just, want to make sure that we walk away with some action plans and not just read a book. Um, so we want to create a financial blueprint. And I know we did the vision board the other day, and I do have my financial blueprint included in with my vision board. But I wanted to also bring it here because he talks about a financial blueprint. So, the first step, you want to set your goals and priorities. You want to gather your current financial information. Evaluate the situation and determine your next steps. And those, you all that are on here, play the cash flow game. And then you want to take action. So whatever your plans are, you just don't want to, just let it collect dust. There is an action plan. You do have to take action. You do have to put the work in, so your big dreams, whatever that is, you just want to work towards them and then review your plan annually. And so I had shared Teal's vision board, which is huge and very thorough. And clear. You can look at her board and tell exactly what she's doing. She has the things that are important to her. She has some future business ideas. I saw Pam's board. She wants to, I'll let her talk about her own board because Pam is like, stop talking about me. But Pam also,
when you get to the personal stuff, my age and my boyfriends and all that stuff.
But you have your vision board includes your financial plan in there as well, and the things that you plan to, how you plan to, what your exit strategy is. And so
Yep.
I haven't seen yours, Jennifer. But
Pam, I got my relationship goals on my vision board too. So
yeah. Girl, you got to.
If you got things you got to
That's
work
all
out.
part of it.
Yep, that's the whole point of it.
well, I was looking at her vision board. She was talking about everything, and then she's like, "Yeah, and I, going to squeeze some time in for some romance." I said, "I like that," so that's on my board too. I put that on my board too.
Yeah, right there on my board.
That's all. That's worth it. That's all part of it. If that's your vision, it's definitely my vision to have somebody enjoy all this luxurious stuff with.
That's right. That's right. And not only that, the
the
right kind of person. The right kind of person who can help build that foundation with you, not just be a dead weight.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? I'm hoping that he can just come bring it and we can enjoy it together because, right now at my age, I want somebody I built mine. You got to come with his so we can enjoy it together. But I will say it's really important to even start with that Tia, T, right? Tia?
Teal. Teal.
Teal. Okay, just like a part of that financial literacy, I think also our kids need to understand, or everybody needs to understand their financial literacy is that that's all a part of it. Your way of transitioning to the better life. What does that really look like? And I think if more people understood that they want this and it should look like that, then you got to understand what you have to get to make it look like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, I'm not going to go to college to try to be wealthy. I'm not going to go, there's just not too many places that I'm going to go at my age. And you can't, some people can start a financial plan at 21, put enough money aside every month, and probably hit $1 million if they get it out at 65. They probably earned it that way, but to just start off now, it's too late for me. So if I
I
didn't
would
make it,
caution you against that mindset, Pam. I'm sorry, but
no. What
it
I'm
is
saying-
never
but I
too
can't-
late.
well, wait a minute. What I'm saying is that some things are TL. Let's be realistic. I can't start over at 21 unless I can dump that amount of money. And you know about accumulation. I cannot accumulate that kind of money because I'm 60.
I don't
can't
think
do
that
what
you can do that in that way. I understand what you're saying. There's
Exactly.
not enough time
But that-
for compound interest to work.
That's
for you,
all
but
I'm
that's
saying.
not the only path.
But-
That's not the only
No.
path.
We understand that, but I'm just giving an
Okay.
example. I'm just giving an example. That's all.
Yep.
That's all. I'm
Yep.
just giving an example that you have to be realistic. Just like you expect for people to support you and, believe in you, you have to be realistic. They don't have the capacity. I don't have the capacity to start over at 21 or to dump 300,000 and let it grow until I'm 65 to get $1 million. I won't do that either. So, I mean, we have to know what our boundaries are and we got to know what we can do. It has to be realistic. I tried so hard when I was 21, 22 to put that money together because I was shown how to do it. But every 5 years, it seemed like I needed all that money to go to the next level. And I had to empty my bank out, to go to that next level. Okay, go get it. And, you just got to know, how realistic stuff is for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to give, like you were saying, you gave a good example. You had a couple of guys, put it on. You got a couple of, whatever you chose to go that route with somebody that couldn't even, and you knew they couldn't help you. But you'd make that choice anyway.
Yep. I saw the red flags and
okay, and you
went
kept
down that road
on.
anyway.
But hopefully it didn't last that long. You got rid of that sucker and you better off now. So
Emotionally, yes. But like you, every time a relationship ends, there's a financial setback. However,
sure.
We make a plan on how we're going to recover from the financial setback that happens when a relationship ends. That's one of the reasons why I am so excited and proud about living mortgage free. That was a lesson that I had to learn when I had to basically give someone $40,000 because that person helped me with a couple of $1,000. Here's a story. The person helped me with a couple of $1,000 on the down payment for the house that we got and moved into. That relationship ended, and in trying to financially untangle ourselves, they calculated up the growth of the value of the house or the equity or whatever, and that couple of $1,000 that person helped give me to come up with the down payment for the house resulted in me having to give that person $40,000 to buy out their interest in the house, right? So there are always financial setbacks when a relationship ends, but we recover from those and we make a plan.
Yeah, sometimes, but if you can get over it real quick, you get over it real quick and you move on. But you know that you can't go back that route anymore because it hurt. You can't keep having those setbacks. So hopefully we learn stuff from it and we keep it moving. Get rid of it, run as fast as you can. Get the heck off from under.
Yeah.
Just a note, though, that
Go ahead, Jennifer.
just a note, I think it was something you had said like a few minutes ago, but I do think it's important, and I think we've kind of touched on it before, but I think it's really important to have somebody that, especially when it comes to like relationship wise, aligning yourself with people that can see that vision, that can, that can be supportive, even if they're not like, even if they don't see exactly as you do, but they have that supportive role, even if they're not quite as much of a go-getter, but they can at least support your dream or vision. And that goes either way, male, female, whatever, You know what I mean? Whether the woman is the go-getter, or if the man's the go-getter, or you're both go-getters, whatever the case may be, I think it's important to have that somebody that supports you in those visions and those goals.
Mhm.
Yeah. Renee, I also want to make a comment about what you said about making a plan, a financial plan.
Mhm.
So, I told you about how I want to buy an apartment building, right?
Mhm.
So, I sat down with the person who is going to be financing this deal for me,
Mhm.
this lender. And I sat down with their financial counselor. We, like you said, gather all your paperwork, right? Gather all your documents. So, here we are with like my balances in my investment portfolios and the amount I have in my bank accounts and my credit report and all this. And we looking at all of this, and we making a plan on how to get me from where I am now to where they will finance me for this apartment building that I want to buy. So gathering up your information and then sitting down and consulting with people who know, not just listening to your cousin Joe, right? Consulting with people who who can tell you, okay, we need to do this here, and we need this to be at this amount, and we need to do this here, and we got to do this over there, and consolidate these or separate these or whatever, and make that plan like bam, 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 bam. These are the things we need to do. And then you get yourself with, in your millionaire mind to accomplish each of the things that you have to get ticked off the box, the checklist, and then ready to move forward, right? So I got myself my mentor who already owns multifamily properties, who's going to mentor me through my first time doing it. So I've got the financing lined up, got my mentor lined up. I'm executing through the steps, and I have to just like find the property after that. And like we got this just laid out. So a financial plan, there's a high level one that's part of the goals that you set for yourself. And then there's a very detailed kind of a financial plan that you put together because you are very specifically trying to get from a specific point A to a specific point B. And you need some financial guidance to help you make a plan to make that happen. So that's all I wanted to say about, building your financial blueprint.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just in the final tips to keep in mind, we play to win.
Yes.
When I started in the stock market, one of the things that I had gravitated to is like, okay, well, put in, an amount that you're not going to be afraid to lose. But someone else had changed my mindset about that. Like, we're looking for everything that I touch to prosper to that level. And so I'm not looking for loss. I'm looking to win in this game. And again, we're all cash flow players here. The second one is find solutions to problems daily, because entrepreneurs are problem solvers. Or if you're not doing the entrepreneur route, you can come up with ideas. Sometimes I challenge myself to come up with at least 5 ideas a day. So that way, I mentor people, I coach people, and just even in my life, I can just spew things off the top of my head because I expand my mind to come up with the ideas or come up with solutions.
That's right.
And then the last thing is exposing yourself to the rich. And so, on my salary, of course, it doesn't put me in the category of, affording luxury, but because of my connections, because of my associations, I get to stay at fine resorts and that sort of thing. Travel to places and stay at, 5-star hotels or eat at 5-star restaurants or, so I get to do that through my association. I get to hang with people like Pam, who, doesn't mind whining and dining with top officials or, whatever. So, like they said, the 5 people that surround or in your circle, if you're the one that has the most money, then if you're trying to get to that status, you want to find a new circle of friends. And, does anyone have any other final things to keep in mind?
Yeah, I think we need to go visit that very seclusive, expensive restaurant together. That should be on our bucket list, and we just show up. There's a couple Valentine restaurants. $400, $450 for a couple. The kitchen, I've never been there. It's like downtown somewhere on Gate Street.
Okay, I know.
$450 for a couple, which I'm like, whoa, what all are you doing for that? You have to give me a room and everything, I think. $450. But yeah, they said, the suggestion is go and treat yourself to a $150 plate. See how it feels and know how hard you got to work.
I absolutely agree that the 4 of us should just go out to dinner and have a good time at a nice place.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. I would love to go and have dinner with you ladies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Renee, gotta make that happen.
Yeah.
Look, that's easy.
That's right. That's easy. We can do that. And I think he's right. When you expose yourself and surround yourself and get your vibes in that kind of space, you're not only giving off whatever is your energy, you're absorbing some of the energy from the people that are around you or that you're exposing yourself to by being in the environment. And it helps to influence your perspective, one of the things that he said in the book was he was talking about rich people being very generous, but because they were just donated charitable events and things like that, and support these different causes and stuff like that. That's all that's all in my heart too. I want to be able to be blessed so I can be a blessing to others.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not one of those people who thinks, rich people are just evil. The only way they got rich is they stole somebody else's money. I don't believe that. I know people who do, though. I know people who have a poverty mindset so bad that they think the only way that this person got to the top was they had to step on people to get there. And I'm like, no, there's not enough room at the top for everybody.
Just to add to that.
Yeah, I'd like to make a suggestion. I'm reading this book. It's called Diamond Doors. And Diamond
Doors.
Diamond Doors.
Okay.
So the reason why I really got interested in it is because she spent a lot of time in Cleveland. She's from West Virginia, I believe, originally. And she spent a lot of her traveling time, but she traveled all over the world stealing diamonds. Don't do this at home. But she traveled all over. She's now 92 years old. And they're getting ready to do a book on her, Diamond Doors. And it's just fabulous how her thinking was with a child. She decided as a child that she would become a multimillionaire, but she's going to do it illegally and steal diamonds. So she set out, and her last theft was at 87 years old. And she had this technique that she never stayed in jail long enough to be prosecuted or anything. And I don't want to be a book spoiler, but it is fabulous how she came up with this technique of not being, she was always arrested maybe several times, but she didn't spend no more than 5 days in jail. But she heisted some huge diamonds and became very, very wealthy. She's still alive. Halle Berry wanted to play her, but she didn't want Halle Berry to play her, even though Halle's from Ohio. she wanted Regina King to play her
Oh, I
because
love
they
it.
had a really good relationship. So pick it up, and it's also on audio, I believe, on Scrub and Script, and it's a fabulous. It goes kind of along with this. Whatever your mind envisions and you set out to do, we can do it. And that's what dude's saying here is just check yourself, check your mental capacity, check your mental actions, your mind actions, your declarations, and just go do it, because that's how it's done.
But we're
I'm
not going to
looking at
spill
the book
diamonds.
now. I'm looking at it now. It says Diamond Doris, the true story of the world's most notorious jewel thief.
Wow.
And it
So
says
Jennifer,
soon to be a major motion picture. So yeah, I might have to read that.
Oh yeah, it's something. It's a read. It's a real good read. Yeah. So she's
Jennifer,
from my hometown. Mm-hmm.
Jennifer, take us out.
I was just gonna say, just to add on to a little bit about, like when Teal was saying about, wanting to once we get there, talking about being able to, be generous and be, with your money. But just one thing that just to keep in mind with that is that it's not something we should necessarily wait till we get there for, because it's something that, you should be able to do at whatever level that you're currently on. Because, some people, when they get there, I can't remember where I was listening somewhere, and they were saying that if you can't give on the level that you're on, trust me, when like
you were at a church.
No, it wasn't even I don't think it was at church actually, but they were talking.
I'm kidding. That's what they always say at church. You got to give on the level you are.
No, but I'm talking about like even like tithing, for example. Like if that's what you're, talking about. Okay.
I'm sorry, Jen. Go ahead.
I'm good. Thank you.
Pam over there getting excited. Finish your sentence, Jennifer.
Girl, church is taking there.
I'm good. Thank you.
Church will take you there. That's what she wanted to say. Church will take you there.
I think what she was saying was
yeah.
like that saying that says how you do anything is how you do everything. How you treat $1 is how you will treat $100 million.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are not having a generous spirit, even when you got $1, to be able to, help a fellow man, you won't have a generous spirit even with $1 million.
Right.
This is true. Make a bigger whatever you are.
Yeah.
Amen. So thank you, ladies, for joining the book club tonight. Good conversation. I enjoyed that portion of the book. Like I said, I'm just really, because I want to come out on the other end as a millionaire. So I'm cleaning house, changing my thoughts, changing the patterns that I've learned. And so, those you can learn some new things. And so let me stop the recording.